The Boston Red Sox have played 2 games today, a doubleheader in Boston against the Baltimore Orioles. The Red Sox took game one 5-3, but they lost the second game 4-2. There's a lot to cover about both of these games, so let's get right into it. My name is Derrik. You're watching Red Sox Recap on Bleacher Brawls. What went right today and what went wrong? So obviously there's a lot to dissect. We'll start off with game one. Nathan Eovaldi, obviously a big start for him, big start for the Red Sox. They needed what he gave them. A 5-3 victory is tight in some moments, a little bit nerve-wracking, but the Red Sox got the win. You'll take a win regardless of how you get it. Big game from Eovaldi, 9 innings, first career complete game at the big league level. And yes, he gave up 3 runs. Only two of them earned, but he gave up 3 runs. But I think he figured something out here because you look at the first few innings, and that 5th inning gave up the 2-run homer on his slider. After the 5th inning, I think he only threw a slider 3 times, and opponents have been hitting his slider very well this year. So it seems like he might need to scrap it, at least for now, because the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, when he wasn't throwing his slider, he didn't give up a run. So very, very important for that, to see maybe he's not using a slider because he's getting hit. And who knows, maybe that'll help him. And there's been a big command issue for him this year and control. And if that slider's not there, I don't see a reason to be using it if it's not going to be there. So it might be for the best, at least for now, that he scraps it, works with his other 4 pitches, because he's still got 4 other pitches that he can go to. So it's not like he's going from 3-2, and that's a big difference. You're going from 5-4. You can still make it work with 4 easily. But so pitching performance, great from Eovaldi, helped save the bullpen. But the big thing here with the Red Sox, they put up 3 in the second, which it's great. It was great, good second inning. But I don't think that's the big story of this game. Obviously, it's nice to see, Jackie Bradley Jr. getting in on the offense and kind of that bottom of the order, getting into the offense a little bit, because we haven't seen that all year this year. We've seen it a little bit as of late in the recent hot streak, but the big story in the lineup is Bobby Dahlbeck. Pinch hit, hits the homer to put the Red Sox up 4-3, that solo shot, and it was a big moment. And because Dahlbeck has struggled this year, even after this game and getting that hit in his one at bat, he did get out in his second at bat, but this is only hitting 168 even after today's game when he had a hit, and that was a homer. And his OPS was still only 523 after that first game. So stuff's still missing. He's still missing some things. Hopefully it's the start of something. I'm not sure if it will be, but I hope it is. On the Orioles side, it was just kind of hit by a guy here, hit by a guy there. There wasn't a whole one guy just dominated. Obviously, the 3-run homer from Rougned Odor stands out. But no one on their team had more than 1 hit. If I remember correctly, no one on their team reached base more than once. I think I'm correct on that. Now, the last thing I do want to cover in this kind of first game is the base running. Carlos Fablis sending Alex Verdugo in the, I think it was the 2nd inning, sending Verdugo home and getting him thrown out. And this was a big problem last year, the base running. And if the Red Sox are going to be in tight games, base running needs to be there. That's a basic fundamental, base running. And you can't be sending guys and getting them thrown out if you're the third base coach. I understand Fablis has been a decent third base coach, but we can't be running into outs. We just can't be doing it. And that's something that, we're going to have to figure out long term. But moving on to game 2 now, as there's still some guys who played in game 1 I want to talk about, but they also played in game 2, so I'll kind of combine them in my game 2 talk. The Red Sox lose 4-2. Not a good look. MLB debut for Josh Winkowski. A lot of people might look at the results saying he only went 3 innings, giving up 4 runs. Not good. It was just one bad inning for him. He got out of the first, worked out of trouble. 2nd inning looked good. 3rd inning ran into trouble and just couldn't keep the Orioles off the scoreboard. And the walks killed him. Walked 3 guys this year in Worcester. He hasn't really walked anyone. So, and I think there is an adjustment to be made coming up to the big leagues. It's And it's like it's his MLB debut. MLB debut jitters, stuff can happen. Especially when you get guys on base. That's normally not a good thing to see in a guy's debut when guys are getting on base against him. That normally, normally you're going to give up a couple runs here and there, and it happened to Winkowski. He gave up 4 in the third, but realistically, you know, it's how do I want to put this? It's yes, he gave up 4 runs, but it was one bad inning, really one bad pitch, that hanging slider that was a 3-run homer. By Rougned Odor. Oh, I think I said Rougned Odor hit the 3-run homer first game. He hit it in the second game. I don't know what I was thinking. But that was in both Orioles games. That's really the only thing that really stood out offensively from the Orioles was that 3-run homer from Rougned Odor. Because if you look at the first game, no one reached base for the Orioles more than once. And they only had one extra base hit, which was a double by Ramon Urias. And in the second game, they had 2 guys with 2 hits, Hayes and McKenna, but both of them they were just 2 singles for the both of them. And then it was just Odor hitting a homer and Mateo hitting the double, and that was his only hit. Odor's homer was his only hit. So it was just that third inning, that one inning that killed the Red Sox. The 4 runs put up by Baltimore. No, not a good look at all. And the Red Sox offense just didn't really get it going. The second game, was it definitely a weaker lineup? Yes, it was. But you don't want to lose to the Orioles. I understand the doubleheader is rough, especially, Red Sox got in like very late on Friday morning, technically Friday morning at like 5:30 or something, 5 in the morning. And then they had the game at 7 last night, and then they got a doubleheader today. The fatigue's probably catching up to them a little bit, especially not having an off day there. But, it's a big league season. You're going to run into weird stretches. And unfortunately, this just happens to be a weird stretch of games where fatigue is going to play a factor in it. And I think we might have seen that on Friday night with the bullpen. I'm not saying it's an excuse for the bullpen. That's not an excuse for the bullpen, but we might have seen a little bit of that fatigue kind of playing in. And I think we might have seen it today with the bats, at least in the second game. Devers didn't have a hit. Verdugo's just been unlucky all year. I could go on for minutes and days about Verdugo's bad luck so far this year. He's been so unlucky. But Christian Vasquez in the 5 spot, putting up 3 hits. Like, you got to take advantage of that. Kike had 2 hits from the leadoff spot. Story finally got a hit, so I think he kind of broke his hitless game streak, somewhat kind of streak. Even Dahlbeck had a hit. He's up to 171 on the season, so big whoop-dee. But hopefully he can keep it going. But the big names I kind of want to talk about, and both of them played in both games. I want to talk about Franchy Cordero and Jackie Bradley Jr. here, because Franchy Cordero now is hitting 269 with a 756 OPS. Coming into today, he had a 107 OPS plus. That's definitely gone up. There's no way it hasn't gone up after today. And I think, too, we got to realize with Franchy is he may not be a star, but like he's doing more than what he's being asked of. And that's all you can ask from someone. If they're exceeding expectations, that's all you can ask from. He's got a 338 on base. Is it ridiculous? No. But, it's a lot better than what we got from last year. And, Franchy Cordero, he's been decent defensively. He hasn't been amazing, but he's done better than what I think he was going to do defensively as well. So it's not like it's been a major loss at first base defense with him there. And like the batsman there, especially much better than Dahlbeck, way better than what Travis Shaw was doing with us. So Franchy Cordero, he's been more than good enough for the Red Sox and what they've needed at first base for now, for this part of the season. And then Jackie Bradley Jr., I got to bring him up. Seeing 221 now after game 2. But the big thing with him, he's hitting over 300 at Fenway. Obviously, you like to see the road numbers come up, but considering the defense he gives you, if he's going to hit over 300 in half of the games, you take that with Jackie Bradley Jr. with how good his defense is. This year, he might, based on defensive run saves, UZR, he's the best defensive player in the league, regardless of position. Now, the value that brings to the team is more than enough to live with his offense not being, great. Whatever, I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but his deficiency in offense But he's been more than solid this year. He's literally been more than solid. I don't know how many doubles. I think he's at like 14 doubles this year. He's on pace to hit over 40 doubles. I'm not saying he's going to hit 40 doubles, but 30, 35, that's not out of the question. He's hit 30 before multiple times. So it's definitely not out of the question. This year, he's got 14 doubles this year. Last year, the whole year, he had 14 doubles. He only has one homer this year. I wish that number would be a little bit higher, but also, you gotta remember Shaqy Bradley Jr., that's not a big worry. His career high in doubles is 33, set that in 2018. 2019, he hit 28. I think you could maybe see him close in on that 33 number, that career high double number, especially if he's going to keep on hitting like this at Fenway. And Fenway is a doubles, you poke the ball off the monster, you can hit a double. You put it in the right center gap, you have a double. So Jackie could do it. You definitely get to a career high in doubles this year. And with all the value adds defensively, I think that's huge for the Red Sox because having that run prevention is going to help you. In a game like the second game, obviously you need the runs to be scored, but also there's other guys in the line. He was only hitting eighth. You could have asked for more from some other guys. And I was looking back at this recent win streak, and the only game the Red Sox lost that they scored more than 4 runs was the first game of this Baltimore series. All the games they've lost, they just haven't scored. It's been the rare nights that they haven't scored. And I think that should be noted because we saw it last year. They score 4 or more and they're winning. This year it's like they're scoring 5 or more and they're winning. But you got to score more than 5 or more. You got to score more than 4. 4 or more is good. You score more than 4. That's the thing. More than 4. 5, 6, 7 doesn't matter. 20 doesn't matter. You're most likely going to win this year. If you're the Red Sox, if you score more than 4. If you score less, if you score 3 or less, you're most likely not winning with this Red Sox team this year. And this how it was in 2021. This team needs to score to win games. They don't need to put up 10, but they got to put up 5 or 6 because the pitching, the bullpen's not great. I think that they could maybe move Whitlock to the bullpen. I would look at keeping Winkowski in the rotation for another start or two to see how he can do. Because I would pretty because he would be slated. They wanted to, they could slate him to start one of the Cincinnati games, or he could start against Oakland. So you could get maybe one more start out of him and see what he does. I don't think that would hurt at all. And then because then you could put Whitlock in the bullpen and say, you know what, we like you in the rotation, but we need you in the bullpen as the closer this year. And I think that's what the Red Sox actually need. So hopefully that's what they'll go and do with him. But we'll see. I did really like what I saw from Winkowski today, with the exception of the third inning. You could see that, he could handle himself at the big league level in the first and second inning. The third inning, it kind of unraveled on him, but most guys aren't going to go and throw 6 shutout innings in an MLB debut. It's just very rare. And the guys who do it are the top, like the upper echelon prospects, like your top 5, top 10 prospects in baseball. Winkowski is arguably not even a top 10 guy in the Red Sox system, prospect ranking wise. So I wasn't expecting him to go on for 6 shutout innings. I don't think he should be expected to do that, but obviously wouldn't have liked him to give it 4 runs in 3 innings, but the Red Sox pitching as a whole kept you in the game. You only gave 4 runs the whole game, and the bullpen was very good in the second game. It's the only game they pitched in today. 6 innings, only let 2 guys reach base. They had a walk from Diekman because obviously he's just got to walk someone. And then Phillips Valdez gave up a hit in the 9th. It's nice to see Valdez back in the big leagues. He's had a couple rough outings, but when he can be a solid guy kind of to bridge the gap from a starter and a short outing to the middle relief. So, or especially if you're down like tonight, I thought Valdez would have been perfect to use where Austin Davis was used, but I mean, he still got into the game. Brazier looked a little bit better tonight. I mean, it's only 1 outing, so we'll see where that ends up. But overall, not a good day from the Red Sox, but you can pull positives from it. Like Franchi Cordero, like Jackie getting a couple hits, Dalbec in the homer and hit the ball hard a couple other times. Winkowski, besides the third inning, looked good. There's still positives to take him. And obviously Eovaldi, there's big positives from that start. So there's still a lot of positives to take from today, even though they lost one of the games and they've lost 2 out of their last 3 against Baltimore. It does suck. They're only 2-4 against Baltimore this year. You got 2 more games this series, hopefully turn that around. Then you got the Reds, who even though their record might look deceiving, I think they were 13-8 in their last 21, I think, or something like that. They've been very good as of late. So the Reds could be a bigger test than what we expected. So if you're the Red Sox, you need to win these last 2 games because that Reds team, I don't know who's going to start for the Reds in those games. Looks like Luis Castillo and Hunter Green. So maybe you can get to Hunter Green, but Luis Castillo, that's going to be a challenge. Hopefully the Red Sox can, win the rest of this homestand and go 5-2 in the 7-game stretch like I want them to do. I don't know if it'll happen now, but hopefully it will. But that's going to wrap this up. Not a great day. Could be better, but could be a lot worse. So you got to live you got to live with it. Make sure to check out all the links in the description, Twitter, Instagram, the podcast, the website, all the cruise Twitters down there. Stay up to date with us on Twitter for when we do Twitter Spaces during Red Sox games or just Twitter Spaces in general. Make sure to check out the website, check out the good articles on there, check out our podcast. We got, I think, 3 episodes now of it up, so make sure to check that out. Make sure to check out all our previous videos, the prospect pipelines, the series, the game recaps, and our other videos that we've done over the past couple weeks. And make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, like this video, all that stuff. My name is Derek. Thanks for watching Bleacher Brawls, and we'll see you next time.